Right, this is the very first frequent asked questions video, and today we're just going to be looking at the Crazy chord sequence from Niles Barkley song Crazy. And it's really straightforward. If you don't know how to play bar chords, then I'd recommend perhaps going away and reading up a little bit on that, or checking out some other videos. I haven't done a bar chords lesson, but there are plenty of videos out there on that. So yeah, we're going to be using loads of bar chords. You could, for the sake of argument, put a capo on the 3rd fret, which would make it a tiny bit easier on your fingers. But personally, I just man up and do the bar chords anyway because it's good workout, and also gives you a little bit more flexibility in some ways because you can drop down to a lower pitch if you want to as well. Right, now what we're going to do is start off with a C minor. I'm going to put it in my little chord boxes, probably somewhere around here, so I'm not going to take you through the numbers. C minor, E flat major, that could also be a D sharp major depending on what the rest of the chords are and what key we're playing in. I can't actually remember off the top of my head. And then we get to a flat major. And that is A flat, not G sharp. And then G sus4 changes to a G major. Okay. Now there's one other chord that you play in the song, and that's actually a C major rather than the C minor. Now that happens when the song goes through its, really its only change actually. There are only 2 changes from that section out of that section, so the rest of the chords stay the same. It just moves between that one and the A flat, and then to the E flat, and then to the G. Sorry, sus4 first, and then G. So this is what the sequence sounds like with the bass drum, hi-hat, snare drum, hi-hat, exactly the same as before. So bass drum, hi-hat, snare drum, hi-hat, and then you just strum when you do the bass drum. Etc. just goes round and round and round. Now, one of the other questions that I get asked is how I do the snare drum hit and actually keep the chords ringing. The answer is that with my wrist when I'm doing that, I'm only hitting basically the top 2 strings, the E and the A. So therefore, if you're holding down the chord nice and tight, you're only going to stop the top 2 strings. Now, for the C and the E, first 2 chords of the song, we're only actually playing from the A string down. So if you hit the E string and the A string, you don't lose that many notes, and certainly keep all of the higher notes ringing, which gives the illusion that the entire chord keeps going, which is really fun because people just don't know how you're actually doing that and didn't click at the same time, and that's probably why so many people had an issue with that one. But basically, yeah, just aim for the top 2 strings like that. Try not to hit any of the others. Take a bit of practice, but with everything, just take it slow and you get to grips with it. So just strumming and doing the thump at the same time. Now doing that, you're flicking your fingers out at the same time. Now, I did cover this in the previous lesson, but it perhaps wasn't obvious. You do have to bend your wrist downwards a bit. And be a little bit careful with this, because obviously anything that you do with your wrist, you run the risk of, if you do it too much, getting a repetitive strain injury or something like that. So do be a little bit careful when you're doing this. But flicking your wrist down, and you splay your fingers out at the same time. Now, over the years, I've done this quite a lot, and I actually find it quite easy to do now, to the extent I can integrate that kind of thing into finger-picked sequences where I'm doing bass drum hit. And it doesn't really affect my playing of the finger-pick parts, because I'm kind of used to moving the wrist and the fingers independently. But really, it's just practice, so the more you do the strumming thing and the flicking of the wrist down like that, the more used to it you're going to get. Now, the other chords in the song take us to the C major, and then to the A flat major, and then to the E flat, and then to the G sus4, and then to the G major. So I'll play the whole thing through, and I'll put the chord names up as we go along. So. Okay. Now you just repeat that to taste. So if you're going to be singing along with it, obviously you've got to pay a little bit of attention to the verses and the choruses. If you're just practicing it as an exercise, just play it how you see fit. It's kind of fun to do. I do sing along to that sometimes, but I'm not a particularly great singer. So I actually have a singer who works with me in the Not Quite Quartet, and he sings over the top of that. Got a fantastic voice. And if you happen to be around Edinburgh Fringe Festival this year, we're going to be taking a show up to the Fringe, and I'll put a little link down with some information, or you can just search for NQQ on YouTube, and there are some videos of us. Be warned, we can be a bit rude. See you next time.
The Not Quite Quartet are better than cheese on toast and getting a blowjob from two girls at the same time. I know, because I've experienced both. Man, yeah. Spit on your camera.